Good day and welcome to today's episode of What is Trending on your most preferred channel, Channel Up. My name is Angelo Himalayas. Thanks for joining us. If you've been watching me for a while, then you know what to do already, all right? But if you're watching me for the first time, why not tap the subscribe button so that you would follow me and watch more updates and more trending news. Why not give this video a thumbs up and then drop comments for us in the comment section. Share this video too. Don't forget to do so. All right, let's get to the matter of the day. Yes, so a girl named Ifunayan, who obviously is from Anambra State from her story, and who stays in the United States from her story, has come online to narrate a very touching and sad story about something very horrible and very shocking that happened to her father and her family. Her father, who left them in US and traveled down to Nigeria after retirement in the US to live his Igbo boyhood life. Now, this story would open your eyes, especially if you are the type that places a high degree of trust and confidence in family, especially distant relations. All right. Now, let me not waste much of your time. This story was shared on her official TikTok handle, and she affirmed to us that the Almighty instructed her to share her life story that happened to her. Okay, and she was instructed to share it with the world. All right, this will make you cry even without listening to or watching to the end. Let me not waste much of your time. I will drop the first part of this video so that you would listen to what this lady had to say. This is very sad.
That video that I posted January 12th, 2022 forever changed my life. Prior to that date, for 6 months, I didn't know if my father was dead or alive. My father, back in 2019, moved to Nigeria, moved to Anambra in particular, to basically live out his Igbo boy dreams. He had built a house, he had worked for New York City for 25 years, and he was retiring on time, he was retiring healthy, and he just wanted to go back home and be with his family, live in his home that he had literally suffered and toiled for being in America all this while. I respected it, and I felt like him moving to Nigeria would obviously, create a new chapter in his life, especially after retirement. And so we welcomed it with, open arms, and I was literally there to send him off when he was flying. And after that, my dad kept in touch. He would call once a week, call for birthdays, call for Christmas, call for holidays. And it wasn't until the end of 2021, I was noticing some distance. I wasn't hearing from him as much. My life was equally as busy, so I didn't put too much thought into it. However, I did find it a little odd, given the fact that my dad and I have such a close relationship. It wasn't until 6 months in that I realized I haven't heard from this man. I would call him, I bought him an iPhone, I would call him with the iPhone, send money for credit. Meanwhile, my dad is on retirement. Money is not his problem. I will send money for retirement, I will send money for this, send money for that. Still no word. It wasn't until I started to ask some really big questions that my uncle and my aunt in the videos now began to pull back and be hesitant to pick up my calls. For 6 months, I didn't know if my father was dead or alive, because when I would call, my auntie would tell me he stepped out, he's sleeping, or she's cooking in the kitchen, she doesn't want to go upstairs, blah, 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 just excuses. So when I went to Nigeria, the Holy Spirit told me, it's time that you check on your dad and you see the physical state of him and make sure that he's okay. I toyed with the idea, like, what did I do? I'm not a serial killer. I'm not a criminal that my dad would literally stop talking to me. Is he dead? I would have dreams of his body being hidden in the back. I would have dreams of him crying at night, you know, calling my name. I would have all these series of dreams, and these were the seeds God was planting inside of me to prepare me for this day. So with January 12, 2022, I fly from Lagos Airport to Anambra Airport, and I drive down to Enugu, which was maybe like a 15-20 minute drive. And what I saw, no Nigerian movie could prepare me for it. I saw a huge heap of sand blocking my father's gate, which told me nobody can come in and nobody can come out. And clearly, because of this, you know, barrier, it made it very hard for me to have access to the gate. So when I finally did climb the sand pit, my uncle and my auntie saw me and began saying, "How dare you? I'm gonna kill you. You're a prostitute. You sleep in hotels for months on end," and I am just confused. What did I do? What did I do? I'm just here to check on my dad. Is he here? Where is he? Daddy, are you okay? You know, screaming because now they're throwing sand on me and laying curses and abuses.
And Auntie Joe have literally been throwing sand on me. See, you see this? You see this? You see this? You see this evil?
All this while I'm just literally trying to find my dad. And the testimony and the story is gonna then follow exactly what had been happening since then.
Well, you've heard the first part. I call that part 1, all right, because you ain't seen anything yet. That was so sad, very, very sad. And I can't even believe that family can treat somebody to the extent of preventing you from coming into your own father's house, which your own father built with his own hard-earned money. People, they do. People too, they do. Well, it's fine. Now, moving on. After that physical attack where she stopped in part 1, and after the altercation between herself and her uncles and aunts, something very deadly and something unheard of took place. All right, this particular event that took place is something maybe lots of you have never heard, or something most of you have heard but have never seen somebody that it has happened to physically, maybe because of location or some kind of restraints or limits. But don't panic, because I got you. All right, Channel Up got you. Now, this brings me to the part 2 of this sad story. The next revelation by Ifunayan would shock you. All right, please watch this video. Let me follow you and wait.
After the insult, after the physical attack, I was completely covered in sand. I could actually at one point not see. Some of the youths and other villagers started to kind of basically crowd around because they were hearing the yelling and the noise and all the things that was happening, the commotion. Obviously, this voice doesn't change, so they could already tell that something was off because I didn't sound local. I began to explain myself that I'm the daughter of Peter. I'm the first daughter. I've come all the way from America.
Madam, I know you don't know me, but see me as your daughter. I've come all the way from America. I've come all the way from America to see my dad. This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing.
The youths, when they started to kind of hear my story and when whispers started to get around, the youths were rallying up to literally beat the out of my uncle and my aunt, because for them, they saw it as an abomination and as a taboo that the daughter of the first daughter, in fact, of the first son of that household will not be allowed into her father's compound. So now the youths are getting rallied up, and people don't know what to do. So the Anowu of our community basically decided to call the police. Number one, I was assaulted, and number two, to calm the crowd down, because at this point in time, the tide was turning against my uncle and my aunt. When the police now came, they said, listen, ma'am, you've been physically assaulted. You know, what do you want to do? I said, please, can we just hold off on pressing charges until I find the whereabouts of my father? At that point in time, my uncle and my auntie began screaming and yelling, he's in Abuja, he's in Abuja. I have a text message that I'm going to post up here where my aunt is literally confirming that my dad is in Abuja. And a quick context, I knew my dad wasn't in Abuja because the reason why I was always checking on my dad is because, unfortunately, December of 2021, December of 2020, my dad had a stroke in Nigeria. I had fought for him to come back to America for proper medical treatment, but according to him, he was okay, he was fine, you know, he was seeing a doctor in Anambra. I didn't trust it, I didn't want it. He's a US citizen, come and get the proper medical treatment, but he refused and I could not force him. So when that happened, I just let him and his family basically plan out his care, but I was always on top to make sure my dad was okay. But after December 2020, basically, I was noticing my dad's state of health decreasing, and I was constantly having issues with my aunt and my uncle in feeling like they were purposely making him stay in Nigeria rather than him come to America for proper medical treatment. So fast forward now back to the present time, I found it hard that a stroke-ridden man could now endure 9+ hours on the road from Anambra to Abuja, and then whether he went by plane, I don't know, but something was just telling me my dad did not go to Abuja, nor was he in Abuja. So when the police now realized that it was a welfare check that I was making on behalf of my dad, they told me that I'm obviously allowed into my father's compound and that, you know, I should, go into my father's compound and be rest assured that nothing would happen to me. When I got into the compound, it was more yelling. Villagers were still asking questions. Why did my uncle and my aunt feel the need to verbally and physically assault me? And they began making more lies, but nobody was believing them. It was just kind of like, what is going on? And that's something that I want to share, that when you do wickedness, you actually have no common sense. Like the Holy Spirit, God cannot let you do something evil and think that you literally checked off every single box. So the wickedness that my uncle and my auntie were trying to sow in the people, all you needed was common sense to realize that these two individuals were lying. Eventually, it started to get really late at night, and people were kind of like getting restless because there wasn't really any new developments. And my uncle and my aunt now called my uncle Christopher, who's also a relative and the brother of my father. And he went on speaker to say, hey guys, I am in Abuja. Yes, Peter's in Abuja with me. I'm so sorry. I'm not home right now, or I would have given Peter the phone. Please, let's all come back tomorrow and I'll put Peter on the phone so that we can all talk because it's getting very late. When the villagers heard that, when some of the people heard that, they said, okay, Peter's in Abuja. When I heard that, I looked around just so dazed and so confused.
Wow. Oh, what a wicked world. Okay, what wicked uncles and aunt she's got there. All right, now since they actually agreed to talk to her father on the next day, right, claiming that he was in Abuja, according to what her uncle Christopher called and told them. Whoever called in, that Mr. Christopher guy from wherever, I don't know. All right, but according to what he told them on phone, according to her, that her father was with him in Abuja, but he was not right there with him. Okay, so let them come tomorrow. Now, if they had walked away that night, maybe that would have been the worst decision they would have ever made. I mean, if Ifunayan, the villagers and everybody she had called for witnesses, if they had walked away, that would have been the worst mistake of her life or of their lives. Do you know why? Now they would have maybe they would have walked away from something mysterious, all right, or maybe they would have not discovered the fishy activity that would have been discovered or that they later discovered. All right, now did they find that mystery? Did they walk away? Did they find the mystery? Did they find whatever fishy it was? Did they discover whatever hanky panky game the uncles and aunts were playing that night, or did they walk away? Watch the part 3 of this video and then you would listen to what would break your spines. I think if you finish listening to this, you will quickly try your best to locate this lady and initiate a quick arrest of her uncles and aunts. Please stay tuned.
And that literally shook me. So as everybody's getting up to start walking out into the main road, I said, why do tomorrow what we can do now? You guys said I'm allowed into my father's compound. Well, then I should be equally allowed into my father's house, and I want to check his room. Some of the men and villagers were like, oh, it's getting late. I'm like, sir, we're already here. Let's just check. Let's just find out, if my father is indeed here or not. I can see the panic in my aunt and my uncle's faces. And eventually everyone agreed, like, yeah, we're already here. Like, let Christopher confirm if Peter's in Abuja, but let us also do our work and make sure that Peter is not into that house. So eventually everyone agreed, yes, right now, even though it's really late at night, let us all confirm if Peter's inside the house. So I decided that I needed people around me because I'm still scared. I can feel the Holy Spirit with me, but I was still in my flesh scared because obviously I was physically attacked. So many people are around me. I am new to this entire experience. I don't know even 1/3 of the people that are talking to me. So I asked for a police officer to accompany me upstairs, and then the Enugu youth leader to accompany me upstairs. And guys, what I discovered when I went upstairs shook my core. I went upstairs to my dad's floor, and as I entered into the living room, I kid you not, it felt like I was entering into a graveyard. I could see death in the corner, and I was looking at death, and death was looking at me. And then I finally looked down, and I can see my father on the floor, on a dirty mattress, covered in just unimaginable things. My dad's beard was so long, his nails were so long, his mouth was so dry. When I looked at him, I felt my soul mourn. And I was like, really? This was what the abuse was for, to hide this. I'm sorry. The maltreatment, the malnourishment of my father. And again, in the first part, I told you guys my dad was on pension. He was collecting about almost $5,000 between his pension and his Social Security a month. And my dad looked like he hadn't eaten food in months. Just laying there in his own house on the floor, his skin, his bones withering away. And I give God the testimony for using me to basically unlock the evil that my uncle and my uncles and my aunt were doing to my dad. At that point in time, when I discovered him, I asked him a series of questions because I knew his mouth was so dry he couldn't even speak. He could only give me yes or no answers. So I asked him, I said, do you know who I am? He said yes. I asked him, do you know that I love you? He said yes. I asked him, do you love me? He said yes. I said, Dad, the devil has played with your life for way too long. I'm here to let you know that I'm here to take you. Be strong, I am coming.
Ah, oh, I can't even take this. I feel like shedding tears right now. All right. Well, that's very sad. Now, moving on. Moving on. People are really heartless. People are really inhumane. Okay. Now, having discovered her father in that state, looking like a vegetable, that is why I urged you to watch this video till the end. Okay. Having discovered her father looking like a vegetable, all right, more or less he was as good as gone. All right. Now, what did she do next? Okay, because that will be the next line of action, and then what she did next is what will tell you how big, how broad, and how dastardly this particular case is. You have not seen anything yet. All right. Now, what did she do to her uncles and her aunt? All right. This is where the story unravels to a new phase, to a new horizon, to a new, to a new chance. Yes, I'll call it a chance, because these people, well, I'll not say much. Now, this inhumane treatment of her father and the same father who happens to be the brother to those people that kept him that way, all right, cannot be overemphasized. All right. Now, whatever she did to her uncles and whatever actions they took next, the policemen, the villagers, and everybody there, whatever actions they took next is what I will bring to you in my next video. All right. Don't forget, don't ever bite the finger that fed you. All right. If you've enjoyed our update so far, this is trending now, and I don't want to leave you left out, or I don't want to leave you out from sharing in this trending sad story. Keep eye on your family and keep your family safe. Thank you so much for staying this far. If you always like what we do here, like our videos, share them. Don't forget to drop comments for us about what you feel should be done to these people, or what you feel she would have done, or anything you feel she would have done differently. Drop them in the comment section. I want to see them flying. All right. Subscribe to this channel and tap the notification bell. Don't forget, my name is Angelo Himalayas. See you next time. Bye.